All right, it is Tuesday, June 11th, and tomorrow is a huge day. There are two things happening tomorrow that are very much on my radar. They usually don't happen at the same time, but the CPI report happening at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time, or New York time for those of you who are not in the United States. And then the FOMC meeting minutes will be dropped at 2 p.m. New York time, and then Jerome Powell will speak at 2:30. And I've just been thinking about this. I've been processing this, and you got to remember, all right, the last Fed meeting, the day of the last Fed meeting, May 1st, look at the charts. Things were looking really ugly at that point. Bitcoin was under $57,000, and the spot Bitcoin ETFs had dumped a ton of their supply. It was like $500 million. Things were looking really bleak. Everyone was calling for Bitcoin to go to $52,000. And then suddenly, the day of the FOMC meeting, things turned on a dime. And what happened? Well, not Jerome Powell, they dropped their minutes, and one little note in their minutes communicated some kind of dovishness that we haven't seen in quite a while, since 2021, that they were going to ease on their tightening to the tune of, instead of $60 billion a month of tightening, it was going to be $25 billion a month. And so it's really interesting to me that today I'm sensing a very similar sentiment to where we were on April 30th and then May 1st. On the day, Bitcoin got as low as $66,000. There's lots of people calling for it's over. The bull run's over. $73,800 was the peak. And we have the next Fed meeting tomorrow. And the more that I'm thinking about it, the more I'm thinking that there's going to be even more dovishness communicated. I am actually quite convinced that that's what's going to happen. Given at all of the support levels that we are at Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, the total two, especially for Bitcoin, it makes sense to me that the Federal Reserve is going to communicate some new level of dovishness. I don't know what that is, but something that's going to make the markets pop. And the big reason why I think that is because the last unemployment report was at 4%. And that's not some kind of algorithmic trigger.